Hey everybody, Matt with Freestand here. Got a special guest on the show today, Hannah Gross, not Cross, Gross. And yeah, anyway, so she's a virtual fitness instructor. She kind of does like a hybrid model. She does in person and also virtual. So excited to talk to her about that. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Getting a little warmer here, and she's in LA.
Yes, it's hot over here now. Thank God.
And she did a bunch of classes this morning, and she's
Yes, I'm
exhausted.
very sleepy.
And she's a 4-month-old puppy,
Yes.
but we're here. We made it.
We're here.
So
She's in the other room. She may interrupt, but
that's fine. We
no
like
one will
that.
complain. Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk a little bit about what you do, how you got started, and all that.
Sure. So I have been kind of like fitness obsessed for a long time. I would say it started in high school. Before that, I hated working out with a burning passion. And then once I got into the habit of seeing a trainer in high school, um, I would say it took like a couple months and then I was pretty hooked. You just kind of become addicted to it. It's just such a good endorphin release. So I loved it. And then I realized that I also love teaching. So even before I became a teacher, I was always with my friends. We would do workouts together and I would kind of lead and instruct. So I moved out to California. Before that, I had been a spin instructor at University of Michigan. That was just like my side thing with my friends. And then I came out here in LA and I got certified to train weightlifting as well as Pilates. So I have two different backgrounds in that sense. I also, aside from cycling, I love doing HIIT training. Really, I will do anything. I love all kinds of exercise. So I basically started this virtual program during the pandemic, as many of us did.
Yeah.
Became sort of a saving grace because for the first couple weeks or so, I would say actually days, I was like, what am I going to do? We're stuck at home. And I was like, well, I can't not work out. I need this. It's like therapy to me. And I love the connection with other people. So after a couple of days, my studios that I worked with were like, hey, we're going to go virtual. We're going to use this thing called Zoom. I'm like, no fucking clue what that means, but sure. And that started right then and there. We just started teaching everything virtually. I mean, I teach Pilates on a megaformer, and then we had to go teach virtually on the ground. So it's different. And then weightlifting, I had a barbell. Now it's dumbbells.
Yeah.
So we had to adapt. And then from there, I grew my own fitness brand, Sweat with Hannah. And I've just started meeting and making new clients and growing. And it's been awesome. I just launched this monthly program a few days ago, actually. So I'm really happy about that.
That's amazing. So let's go all the way back to when you're at Michigan.
Okay.
So you said you were doing like spin classes there. Was that like with like in your rec center or something? Like with the school? Or?
It wasn't with the school. It was just on campus. So I grew up in West Bloomfield, Michigan. There was a spinning studio that I fell in love with because my trainer at the time opened up a spinning studio. So I started to get really into it. And she's like, hey, I think you'd be actually a good teacher. So she knew a lot of her clients were going to school at Michigan. And so she was like, I'm going to partner with someone. We're going to open a spin studio in Ann Arbor. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm down to teach it.
Yeah.
Now
sick.
if I get on a spin bike, it's a different beast, but
they're crazy hard.
I know. I'm thinking about it now. Like I went to Soul Cycle recently and I was like heavy breathing. I'm like, how did I used to teach this and talk the whole time? But
yeah, I don't know how they do. Like I've done Peloton just on my mom's Peloton, like when I'm home. And
jealous.
Yeah, they're great. It's such a great product. But yeah, like the amount of energy that those people have is like crazy. They like pick you up though. It's like, damn, like okay.
Totally. The lung capacity. You're just like, how are you not passing out?
Actually. But very cool. So you're training people in person, of course, and like most people, like in March when everything shut down, you're like, what am I gonna do?
Right.
And then how far down the line was it until you put together like, you know, kind of like this virtual copy? of
I
what you were
mean,
doing?
pretty much I didn't have a fitness Instagram. I'm actually also a musician. So I pretty much divide the worlds. And I was like, well, I started posting like, hey, if you want to work out online with me, I was posting that on my music page. And then I was like,
Hmm.
I need to separate these. So I created an Instagram during quarantine, and it just started from there. From there, I created like my whole Sweat with Hannah. I had Zooms set up. I had privates, group privates, did like bachelorette parties that can't happen, did Zoom workouts,
That's lit. Wait, you did bachelorette parties? Like,
well,
are
not
they?
like the fun part, the workout part. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty fun, honestly.
You know what? It was good. And it was a way for everyone to connect. I feel so bad. I had so many friends who were supposed to have weddings, and we did a bunch of bachelorette workouts together, birthday workouts, friend
That's
group
awesome.
workouts. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say that was a terrible year for having a wedding. I knew multiple people that, yeah, the worst, literally.
Or I'm actually engaged now, and I didn't want to schedule my wedding till like end of 2022 because I wanted all my friends who have been waiting for literal years to get married to do it before me.
Did you get engaged? Congratulations, first of all.
Thank
Did
you.
you get engaged during the pandemic?
I got engaged in February, so it's pretty recent.
Oh, wow, really recent.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So I think you have plenty of a time, like
Oh, yeah.
time horizon. It'll be back to normal.
I will wait. I will
Yeah.
wait.
Very cool. So, talk to me about like the clients that you got and everything. Are these mostly people that you knew from the in-person classes that you were running? Is it friends, family? How did that kind of work?
I would say for my Sweat with Hannah, separate from the studios, I would say my private clients were actually friends of friends. It started with all my friends wanting to work out, not having their gym memberships, and them being like, well, what can I do? I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, I'll teach you. And then I was like, I should probably charge people. Like, I'm doing this for free. I just remember being so tired the first couple weeks because I just was nonstop teaching. I was like, I know this is fun, but like I should probably start charging people. And then basically, so my friends started taking classes, and they brought their group of friends, maybe from home or from summer camp or this and that. And it just became weekly group privates. And then people would tell friends who would ask for privates, who would tell other friends. And it spread quickly by word of mouth.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like I feel like a lot of people are kind of like, where do I start? And that's where you start. You know what I mean? It's like you have to start with
Just
like friends and
start.
family.
Yeah.
Just start, and then but like friends, and it's funny because like friends and family grows quickly. Like
Yeah,
you don't really know, like I feel like there's like a network around you that you don't like really realize
for
is
sure.
there. As like this guy knows this guy, and then all of a sudden you have like a decent amount of people.
Yeah, it
Um,
definitely takes a little hustling, but you have your own little fan base right there with your family and friends, for
yeah,
sure.
100%. In terms of like coaching over Zoom, obviously like you've coached in person for years. How is that? And like, what are like the struggles? Not the struggles, but like, what do you think about that? Like in general, like, do you hate
It's
it? Do you like it?
I actually really like it. I think the clientele that showed up for virtuals, at least through my Pilates and my lifting gym prior to when I set up my own, I got really close with these clients that I never met in person. Like our classes didn't cross over. So it became sort of a family, and everyone was pretty dependent on each other, obviously, to get this exercise. So that's a big pro, is actually fostering a community. A con, I would say, is when everyone has their cameras off. And I'm just,
Mm,
yo, if you all have your cameras off, I can't check your form, which I totally understand and respect. Like maybe someone's not comfortable to put their screen on, but I always make it very clear that I'm not going to call you out if you're doing something wrong. I'm not going to judge you. It's really just for me to check form and kind of see where everyone's at. So it's not ideal when your whole class has the camera screen off, because then I feel like I'm working out by myself.
yeah, yeah. I was
That's
talking.
very fair.
Yeah, wait. So how many people? Like I was gonna ask, like what percentage of people do that? You said it's rare for people to turn their cameras off, or is it common?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like 2/3 of my class, especially now because we're about over a year in, 2/3 of my class has their cameras on. They're
Okay.
comfortable. But there's always going to be like a new person or someone who's not comfortable with it, which is totally, again, fine.
Yeah.
As long as it's not the whole class.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was talking with somebody who does dance virtually, which is like even crazier because usually you face, like if you're like doing like a dance class, you face the other
Right.
direction, right? And
Right.
everyone's behind you. And
Right.
then this way you're like facing each other, so it's like everything's kind of in reverse, which I didn't even think
Yeah. Yeah. She's probably mirroring everyone, which is,
yeah.
yeah.
And then she said that also like a lot of people turn their cameras off, and when they do that, like it's okay, but she's like, I actually just feel like a clown. Like
Exactly. I feel like I'm just like putting on like I'm a circus act, just like putting on the show. And usually I'll have, I mean, if I were to go the route that I had in the beginning of doing every single move for the same amount of holds and pulses as everyone else, every single time, I was burning out. So if I see people with their screens on and I'm just say, okay, 20 more seconds, and then I am looking for form, I'm getting a slight break there. But
yeah,
if everyone has their screens off, I feel compelled to do the whole workout. And then I'm
yeah.
exhausted, when
Because you can't watch anything. There's nothing for you to do in that period.
right, exactly. So I'm
Yeah,
like, I'll do it.
yeah. My brother actually he owns a CrossFit facility in Westchester, New York, and he's it's like a decent sized gym, so he's come back and he's not doing virtual anymore. But when he was, I mean, I've never seen him like more exhausted in my entire life. Because,
So exhausted.
yeah, because as opposed to like sitting there, and it is very good for other things, like, but
Yeah.
just on the trainer, it's just tough. Like that's
Yeah.
100% true. Just because like you have to be there for every piece of it as opposed to just like watching, and be like,
Right.
hey, bend your knees, like put your butt down.
Also, I remember in the beginning of quarantine, like when there was so much uncertainty, obviously it's a lot different now. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. But in the beginning, I thought the world was literally ending. I was like, cool, this is it, fam. Like, wow, like this is it. So I would just, I was like, I can't see my family. I'm across the country. Just like my brain was losing it. And then I'd have to go teach a class and be smiling and be this like optimistic leader. And
Yeah.
then I just fully remember there were multiple times where I would just break down and cry. And then I'm like, I have to teach a class in 2 minutes and
Yeah.
smile. You're fine.
Yeah,
Like,
you have to be like that energizing face that they see every day.
yeah, I'm not going to be like, sorry, y'all, I'm crying. Class is canceled.
Let's all cry together.
Let's just
Um,
cry. It's
we're
hard.
gonna, yeah, we're gonna stretch and cry. Um, no, it's interesting. Um, the good things about it though are, like sure, I think like overall from maybe a workout perspective, it's not the best. Like it's not as good, right? I mean that's
I slightly disagree,
okay. I
which
would love to hear that.
I was very anti the virtuals at first. I was like, you're not going to get the same workout as you would on the machine or with the barbells. I fully proved myself wrong. I actually got in the best shape ever from doing all these virtuals. It can be so intense. So I actually believe that from now on, the world will have a hybrid and continue to have these virtuals. I do think that they are really intense. And the fact that a lot of programs, like for example, my program, you can show up for the lives, but you can also just sign up for it and then take the on demand whenever you want. So it's more accommodating to your schedule. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that at first I was like, this is bullshit. Like, you're not going to get the same workout. I proved myself wrong.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like a very big proponent of the virtual space, of course, but I try and like be real about it as well.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting to hear. Like, is it the type of workouts themselves? Is it because it's mostly high intensity and there's no weights, or is it just like is there
Well,
anything about it?
it depends because you can have weights. You can have
Mm,
really heavy weights. Like, I remember in the beginning of lockdown, like, same shit with toilet paper. Like, I could not find dumbbells anywhere. They were
yeah,
taken everywhere. So but now obviously there's more access. You can lift really heavy weights at home and you can take it into higher weights or higher reps. Obviously, if you don't have a barbell, that's a little different, but you can still
Do pretty much everything.
burn and cut and or build with pretty much lighter weights for higher reps too. So
Yeah. No, that's interesting. The proponents, like, I guess it really just depends. I mean, some people, and I totally agree. I think it'll probably, like, I think it'd be really cool to see this hybrid model. In
yeah,
terms of the pros, and from what I've heard just talking to people, it's really time.
yeah,
Like, time is just the biggest thing. Like, going to the gym, which is maybe good once or twice a week, but like
totally.
going every day is like 3 hours out of the day,
Yeah,
waking up before work or school. It's just a crazy time zone.
yeah,
And and then the other thing is you can work out with anyone and everyone. So from like the trainer's perspective, I feel like it's great for you guys because you have the ability to reach an audience that's like across the globe. And then
yeah,
same thing from the trainee, because they can access, if like someone's in some, you're in LA, it's different, but if someone's like in the middle of the country and there's like one gym within like 10 miles and like he doesn't like, they don't like the guys that are there, like that's all they have, but now they can um work out with you, so
yeah. I love that even I personally have access to mega star trainers, like you don't need to be in person. Granted, love the hybrid idea.
yeah.
I love working out in person because that energy that you feel is just, it's hard to match virtually. I'm also, as I mentioned, I'm a musician. Music is so important to me. And I noticed that, not to bash Zoom, but the quality of music, it just does not transfer. So people have to go out and get like headsets and a mixer and everything like that, or you can just send your playlist. Like there's ways to go around it, but having the in person, the loud music is really special.
Yeah.
But the community is still very much there with virtuals.
In terms of like your community and people, how many people are generally in like your group classes? And then you also do privates too, right?
Mm-hmm. It depends. I mean, I would say mine are on the smaller side, like probably max out at 25.
That's a lot of people.
It is totally. But I mean, I'm always comparing myself. Like
Yeah. Well, it's
everyone
easy
who
to,
doesn't compare themselves. So I'm thinking like people have like 70 or hundreds of people on there. Just started, so I'm getting there. But I think it can be as small as having two people
yeah.
in a group class. But as far as group privates, that can range one person. I would say the max amount that I had for a group weekly private was probably like 10 girls. Um, and then it varies class to class.
Of course. Um, in terms of like moving forward, this hybrid model that we're talking about, how are you going to approach that? Do you think, if you have that figured out yet? And yeah, kind of like what does that look like? Are you going to do, like keep the library up and then do virtuals with people who want privates and like maybe a couple group classes a week, and then do in-person stuff at the different studios?
Yeah, I mean that's basically what I'm doing now because California had the luxury of doing your workouts outside. So we were
Mm,
able to adapt and have our workouts outside for my studios that I work at. And then I'm doing my own stuff virtually. But again, I can adapt as well and go to a park and have like an outdoor park experience with my program. So lots of ideas are coming to
are
mind,
flowing.
are flowing. It's something I'm thinking about for sure. I didn't know that I would be starting my own business this year. I had no idea I was going to be doing that. Life took a pivot. So who knows? We take it day by day and just try to keep on growing and keep making connections and network, and we'll see where it takes me. Maybe one day we'll have a studio. So we'll see.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, Hannah, I think we covered it all. Um, Sweat with Hannah is the Instagram handle,
Yes.
and the website is
Flat with Hannah.
sweatwithhannah.com.
Oh,
All right, easy. I'll put links to everything in the video. Also, I'm going to do a write up on you as well, which will go up on the site.
awesome.
And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you
And
so much.
of course, I had a great time. And yeah, maybe down the line we can check in and talk again a couple months or so. And
Maybe I'll be crushing in a couple months. Who knows?
you're crushing right now. So
Thank you.
you're
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.